A common issue that we run into at our office is after the death of a parent, we see a lot of adult children struggle. They're left with guilt and self-doubt, often second-guessing themselves about some of the difficult decisions that they had to make. And sometimes that haunts them for years. And unfortunately, this is an issue that a lot of estate planners ignore. But we understand that one of the reasons you do planning is you want to make sure things are easier for your family. So today I'm going to cover 4 crucial tools that we include with our plans to make sure your family isn't left with guilt or self-doubt. The first tool is our living will scenarios. Now, a living will is meant to be describing how you want to be cared for while you're living. But what many people think of it as is the pull the plug document. Most people have generic living wills that say something vague like, if I'm ever in an end-of-life situation, I don't want life-sustaining measures. But what does that really mean? And what does that mean to you? What do you consider to be an end-of-life situation? What do you think life-sustaining treatments includes? This is why we developed the living will scenarios. We know there's a lot more nuance to these issues, and these are really major healthcare decisions that your family might have to tackle. So we've developed a variety of different scenarios so you can think about the level of difficulty of the situation, how severe it is, and we've also mapped out the different types of life-sustaining measures that might be involved because not all of them are invasive. To give you an example, antibiotics is considered life-sustaining, but in an end-of-life situation, it's also often used as a comfort care measure to reduce the likelihood of things like bed sores if you're bedbound. So understanding that and knowing that antibiotics are pretty non-invasive, that might be something you're okay with. So this is why we want to take you through those scenarios and make sure we really know what your wishes are. The second tool that we include is a letter of instruction to your healthcare agent. Modern medicine can do some pretty amazing things these days, and we're living longer than ever. But the trade-off with that is we have a higher likelihood of living some period of our life incapacitated due to aging, physical, or cognitive impairment. And that's when our healthcare agents will have to step in and make all sorts of healthcare decisions on our behalf. So it's less likely that we go straight from being healthy to being in an end-of-life situation. There's this whole gray area in between. So that's what our letter of instruction to healthcare agents is about. We are the professionals that know some of the common issues that tend to arise for families. So we've developed some tools to help you think about these different situations and help give your family some meaningful guidance about your wishes. Our hope is that it's going to make things easier on your healthcare agent, that they're not going to have self-doubt about what you wanted, and that it will also reduce the likelihood of any family disagreement, because that's another thing that we see a lot of is other family members second-guessing the healthcare agent about whether they're really doing what you wanted them to do. The next tool is our Dementia Directives. Now, I know it's not something we want to think about. In fact, I read a study recently that said most seniors are more afraid of developing dementia than they are of death, which is totally understandable, but it's not something that we should ignore. Things like Alzheimer's and dementia bring up a whole host of additional healthcare issues and things like long-term care wishes under different situations. So we want to make sure that your family's prepared and that they know what your wishes are if that were to happen to you. And then the last tool I want to talk to you about today is our instructions for final arrangements. Planning the final arrangements for a loved one is an incredibly stressful process. You've just been thrust into the grieving process, and now you have to make all of these difficult decisions. It's a time when families are also really vulnerable. They want nothing but the best for you, and they want to spare no expense. So this is why it's important that we have clear final arrangement instructions about what your wishes are, how you wanted the services handled, and to make sure that there's not any family disagreement about what your wishes are. So these final arrangement wishes are really critical to family harmony. When it comes to your estate plan, you want to make things as easy as possible for your family and eliminate as much guilt, self-doubt, or family disagreement as possible. That's why I find it so disappointing that most estate planners ignore these issues. But the good news is you found us, so you don't have to worry about that. Give our office a call, and one of our friendly client welcome specialists will be happy to talk to you about how to help your family with these tools.